Yeah, we ride.
That was genuine shock on my part. Hey, who'd you talk to? What?
You don't own me.
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It's me, Mike Lepre, King Mike L. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by Legit Podcast.com. I don't know why I think I'm not doing sign language. It is December 3rd, 2023. For the math geeks, we got 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. It's becoming heaven for us math geeks. We're getting close to 1, 2. Oh God, I can't. Oh my God, December 31st is going to be 1, 2, 3, 1. Oh God, it's going to be so great for us math geeks. Joining me as always is Cyn Shrader Hill Author. What's up, Cyn?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, I'm all geeked up about math. So
I know you are.
How are you?
Know. I'm good. I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, good.
Ready for
Christmas?
tonight?
Yeah, Christmas though. Christmas comes. Santa. That's what I've been telling
No,
people.
tomorrow is Krampusnacht.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll set my watch to not remind me. By the way, these are like old school, like Coca-Cola drawings of Santa in the old days.
I love them. I've got one or two.
And I get it. You know.
I collect them.
All right, well, you go with the word collecting because I didn't want to use old days to segue. So joining us also is Sarah Paranormal. How are you, Sarah?
Good. Did you catch my live right before the show? No, when I went on Facebook Live.
Oh, Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Cyn, really quickly, did you see what happened to her on the last show? Did you see it?
Oh, jeez. Why you got to bring that up?
It's one of the greatest moments in podcast history. Did you see it, Cyn?
I did.
Oh, Dan.
Why were you so mean to her?
No, we weren't mean. No. I didn't think. Look, that was just. I just threw it out there. Oh, come on now. It was the reaction that was just. It was.
I was sweating for her.
Thank you, Cyn.
I so was.
And then no time to recover. I had to launch right into Paranormal 101. I'm still sweating. My face is all red. Mike's laughing at me. Anyways, what I was going to say is I wanted to thank everyone for liking and subscribing to our page because our numbers are really going up. So I want to remind people that if they have not, at Legit Podcast, DOTCOM, Facebook, YouTube, please do that for us. And thank you to everyone who has. That's all I had to say. And you had to bring up the most embarrassing moment of my life, but whatever.
What it was nothing to me was really funny other than when I confirmed that it was me, and then she goes, and I said, just play the thing, and she goes, no.
Yeah.
When she was like so frazzled, she's like, no, I'm not touching the computer.
You realize no one who's watching knows what you're talking
about.
I
don't care. Cyn's getting it.
I am getting it. I was nervous for her.
Joining us is a guy that, as far as the whole Bigfoot thing is concerned, is someone that you would want to listen to. Now, you can be a fan of Bigfoot. You don't have to be a fan of Bigfoot. I don't think he cares. I don't think Bigfoot cares if you're a fan of his. But anyways, let me get back to Bigfoot stuff. So Dan is the founder of ECBRO, which, I mean, for Rhode Island, the word like ECBRO, because that's what you do when you see those letters. But that's not what it means. But that's the first thing I remember about Dan. Yeah. And then I remember going down to Fort Defiance, Virginia. He had man, I'm going to get the name wrong, but like a Bigfoot con type thing. And that was meeting some of the most different, and like it was such a great trip for me as far as like getting to know other people. Like it was real, like no, and what I mean by other people, it's just like not that sound like me. Like this Italian thing, like they're just like, I went into a convenience store out there, and I just started talking to my friend Kev, and I could see people like. You know, when you hear like a clown squeaking a horn, or you hear something going off, it's like, what the is that? Like my voice alone was making people go, like, what is he, a movie? What is he doing, a movie? Like, what is he, like, you know what I mean? So here is Daniel Benoit. Dan, how are we tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me back. It's great, man. This is awesome. But hey, yeah, I want to make mention, you were just talking about the Virginia Bigfoot Con that you attended. Tell you what, now, I don't know if you probably didn't get to talk to them, but we had a group of guys there. I call them our Jersey boys because a couple of them from New Jersey. Well, I think one was from part of Pennsylvania here. I'm in Pennsylvania right now, so I'm staying at my girlfriend's house right now. So we've been doing a lot of work up here. We've been doing a lot of field work. Actually, we've been out in the woods at least once to twice a week. I just did an interview. I filmed somebody yesterday. He runs a Bigfoot outpost, they call it. It's kind of like a mini museum. This guy here, he actually had some Bigfoot experiences and sightings. So I filmed him. I just put that on my YouTube channel. Yeah, if you're interested in checking that out, you might find it very interesting. So yeah, go to.
Here's the thing about Dan, Sarah, and Cyn. This is Dan, by the way. A lot of people bring him up when like you ask about like Bigfoot, cryptid stuff like that. Like this isn't me kissing Dan's ass. I'd never do that. It's true though. Like that he's a positive guy as far as the whole Bigfoot thing. But the one thing I noticed about the guy is if you put him near any kind of woods, forget about it. He's off. He's off all the time. Now, Sarah,
he grew up doing that.
Yeah, but it still doesn't matter. He just gravitates towards it, and I can't do that. I don't even want to sleep on the grass. Now, Sarah, when it comes to it's damn true. Sarah, when it comes to Bigfoot, right? Out of the pocket, what's the first question you want to ask somebody that's in this field?
I want to ask, like, so what we hear, there's so much stuff out there from like the tree knocking. I want to ask about the pee. So we talked about this on another show and you acted like I was crazy, Mike. So Daniel, is it true that you can buy urine or something that is supposed to attract Bigfoot? Or is there some sort of foul smelling? Or is there a myth?
First of all, there's a number of wildlife animal scent attractants, including urine. But the urines that are sold for that mainly pertain to the known wildlife species. Like if you're trapping coyotes or deer, the deer urine is very common in the wildlife sections, in the hunting sections. And but when it comes to Bigfoot, there's speculation on that kind of thing. However, it's just more or less rumor and theory, and let's try this kind of thing. There's no factual information when it comes to that. As far as I know, I mean.
No, I would love to be the Dick's Sporting Goods when you walked in and you were like, yeah, I'm hunting for Bigfoot. I'd be like, oh, you really? And you're like, do you have Bigfoot urine? I'd be like, sure do. Straight from a Bigfoot. How much you want to pay for it? And I would give you a shower, you pay for it, and I'd laugh my ass off as you walk to your car. What's Bigfoot urine? Like the best you can do is urine of a prey.
She didn't say Bigfoot urine. She said something that would attract him. Like
prey. Yeah, prey. The same thing that attract bears.
Something I saw on, like, I don't know, there was a ridiculous Bigfoot something with Jeff Goldblum. And I don't know if you remember this. Oh, no. Jeff Goldblum goes Bigfoot hunting with what are their names? Dana and Greg Newkirk. who do paranormal stuff, and they went Bigfoot hunting, and they had some sort of animal attractor, some type of urine to attract the Bigfoot. And we had discussed it on a show. And you had acted, Mike, like I was insane, which is how you normally react to me.
No.
But
it's so specific. You're asking for a urine that attracts something that it's a hard thing to prove.
I thought maybe it was a myth. And that's what I was going to ask. So the question was going to be, what's the biggest myth? And then my ADD brain took over and just went pee. I apologize. It happens.
So Dan, right? I mean, does that make sense? You can't really have one that attracts them, because how would you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing when it comes to experimental stuff. That, for example, I would consider that experimental. That's the biggest thing in what I do, and I know others do too. We get a bold thought or a bold idea. Hey, let's try it. You just never know what may occur. So, I mean, there's a few things I picked up over the years that we associate with what Bigfoot does, and then sometimes we practice those things. And yes, they do. We get results from them. For example, you mentioned the tree knocks earlier. I have gotten responses from tree knocks. Now, this one particular location, it's about 15, 20 minutes from here. It's in a state forest, where I'm staying here in Pennsylvania. Now, there was no reported Bigfoot sightings or activity in this area. But after getting to learn this area, my girlfriend brought me to this area, and something about it, I was getting these vibes about this location. I was like, I gotta, I was just feeling it, and just seeing that it was full of forest. It was very dense. There was a lot of wildlife. I seen a lot of deer in the area, and I told her, I said, Julie, we got to come up here. We got to spend some time here. The very first time we went there, we found this little clearing. It's like a little field, and you can see deer tracks. The deer coming into this field, and so it's an open area. It'll be a safe spot when it gets dark. We'll have lights and stuff, but. So our first night there, it was quiet. After it got dark, it was dead quiet. Wasn't hearing nothing. I decided, what the heck? I'm gonna give off a few whoops. That's something that's related to Bigfoot.
As you do, as you normally do when you're out in the woods. I'm always thinking, I'm gonna give off a couple of whoops.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I gave off about 2 or 3 whoops, and then right after that. Where we were sitting, there was these big boulder stones, and you got the field, and then you got the tree line out in front of us, probably 30, 40 feet away. And right after I gave off whoops, we got a tree knock over to the right, and then one straight out in front of us to the left. A response, tree knock, boom. And okay, that got our attention. So to me, that told us, okay, there's something here, and they're watching us,
That messes me in a couple of note things, because one, right, every Bigfoot story, and I sometimes say big feats just to make everybody mad, but just I'm not doing it on purpose. It just comes out. But when I talk about big feats, I pluralize, double pluralize. Anyways, they're tactical. Every story I've ever heard about people when they meet, they think they're around Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it. But there's always 1, 2, 3, and they're like, how do they get us cornered, or how? I've heard so many of those stories, and even from weird. They're tactical, like ninjas, not ninjas, but tactical.
Well, we've been visiting this location for a few different occasions now. We were just up there a couple of days ago, and my conclusion is if they're coming into this area, well, first of all, for those who may not be familiar, it's believed that they hunt deer, and deer is a food source for them, and we believe they come and watch this field probably to hunt and watch the deer that come into this area. And, and there was one side, we had some eye shine out there too. We picked up eye shine on a couple different occasions. And being in this spot, we feel like they're still coming, they're staying out of view. But, we were up there the other day. We didn't get too much. We heard coyotes, we heard owls. Then there was a couple strange sounds that we heard that I couldn't identify. And when I was in the woods, I went. Julie hates it when I walk off from she's sitting there at the stone, one of the big stones up by the field.
And you leave her when you walk up and you leave her.
Yeah, I walk out like when I walk away at night and walk into the woods with my little light, she ends up going to sit back in the car. You know, she's like, I'm not being out here by myself. And she loves being out there, but not alone. You know,
lady.
yeah.
I get it. No, I get it. Tell her I get it. I get it. I go back.
She's listening. She's in the other room watching and listening.
I would go to the car myself. I'm gonna be there by myself. No way. I ain't doing it. No. Anyways,
what? I heard her say something up there.
here's my thing, though, Cyn. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
No. Cyn, tell me this.
Yeah.
I always get a feeling sometimes that people would think Bigfoot's a million different things, from like an animal to like, you know, it jumps universes. You ever notice though that certain people are more, and I'm not saying this to say that Dan made it up, but it would follow him more than like other people. Certain people, how do I explain this? Certain people see or know Bigfoot better than, and they're looking for it too. That's one thing, because like I'm not looking for Sarah, have you ever looked for Bigfoot? Like you ever went to the beach, something looking for Bigfoot? No,
not can't say that I have.
You got to actively be looking for Bigfoot first off to be in this category. But what I'm saying is, like, he goes to these wooded areas, he sees similarities, and when does it become the person, not just Bigfoot, Cyn, with the views? Do you know what I mean? Like the energy of the person.
It's something similar to as we get more and more involved in the paranormal, we open ourselves up more, and we're more open to learning more, and we become like a beacon to them. So I would think it would be the same with Daniel or
I would think
any
it's almost more
enthusiast.
It's almost more. It's got that Craven the Hunter type feel to it, because you're not only learning something, but you're like learning to hunt it, or in a weird way, like not to hunt it and you'd be like, hey, I killed it, but to hunt it in like, because you're trying to figure out where it goes. Sarah, do you see what I'm saying with that? The difference in the whole, when people, like, he goes in the woods looking for big hunt. You get
But like,
that, right?
I'm wondering if it's almost like Bigfoot has some sort of like version of the World Wide Web, like some network of communication. So if he's going out there in the woods all the time and he's being seen and they have some way of communicating with each other, then they would recognize him and probably, talk about him. You know what I mean?
Well, the biggest thing, with the biggest thing with a lot of researchers such as myself and others, and not everybody, but it's something that you guys will be well familiar with, is feeling energy. And some of it, I believe I would refer to it as developmental energy, where over a period of time, you start picking up these vibes and you start feeling and sensing things. It's like, for example, certain areas when I'm in the woods, I'm telling Julie, I said, I'm being drawn over here. I'm feeling something over here. I may not necessarily see something or experience something, but something about certain areas out there, you'll start getting more on alert. I started developing that not long after being involved in this in the beginning. It's just part of it is your senses become more heightened, more alert. There's something out there. Sometimes you feel like, okay, sometimes you do get that sense of feeling that you're being watched, and that's a feeling you shouldn't ignore, because that's and that could be something entirely different too at the same time, but it's a feeling you don't want to ignore. And these senses of being a feeling of being watched versus having an energy towards something. Some of these energies could be positive. Some of these could feel negative. And I guess when I say negative, I feel like it's that sense of fear that might kind of start coming over into you. You're like, okay, you want to be careful. Like I'm in the woods a lot in the dark. So it's not about being afraid of the dark. There's a sense of there's something there watching you that you don't see, that's out of your range of light, or view of light. So it's something, yeah.
There's a couple things about what you're saying. So one is this, in other words, there's basketball moves that my son could do at the point guard position that I never saw before. So it's like to say, like, why didn't you do that? Well, I never even seen it done. And then secondly, related to getting punched, some people just can take punches and then they get knocked out once. And from that point on, they get knocked out all the time. It's weird how that changes. So I would think once you have an experience with a Bigfoot, I know I'm comparing this to being knocked out and another sports analogy, but when you do see a Bigfoot or you're around it, I would think that that's enough of an experience to remember the base. Look, if I was around a Bigfoot or big feets, whatever you want to call them, I would remember exact specifics about that moment. Like I know how my head works, so I would be like, I would remember certain things, and if I ever got that feeling again, then I would be like, oh shit, like I'm around this things. Am I around these things again? That's what I feel like it would be. Sarah, does that make any sense? What I'm saying? You can say no.
Yeah. No. Are you making sense? No,
Yeah.
but like what I'm gathering, like all I can think of in my head is that Daniel is like he's like the Jane Goodall of Bigfoot.
Yes.
Like that's what I'm
I don't know about all
picturing.
that, but
Yeah, I don't know if I go that far, but
Like I'm just picturing him in the woods with like the happy Bigfoot like hanging on him, but like they can sense, that it's a friendly energy.
no, I mean more on Dan's part because he's been he's seen and been in the presence of Bigfoot. Does that just like the veil with the spirits?
Yeah, it would have to go into like what do we consider Bigfoot to be then? Like like if Bigfoot's a mammal, like on the level of a deer or a bear, then I would be less inclined to feel that way. But if Bigfoot's some type of higher being, then yeah. But I don't know enough to really sort of even answer that question about what Bigfoot even is.
Want to know the funniest part was you weren't asked the question. It was actually asked to Cyn. You answered it for her. So maybe that's why you didn't know the answer. Maybe
I didn't hear your name either, Cyn. I could have sworn he said Sarah. So there you go.
I thought you said Sarah.
Thank you.
Cyn, you knew the question was to you, right?
What?
Did you know the question was to you?
No, I didn't hear my name. I promise.
All right, then my bad. I don't know. But let me ask. So seriously, when the whole Bigfoot thing that freaked me out at the Fort Defiance thing was that each group had a different theory on Bigfoot, and it was like interdimensional, down a hole. It was like all these things, right? There was one guy that you brought there. He was like an old school guy, right? Hair was like perfectly dyed. The shoes were shined, right? He got up on stage and he started saying stuff like this. He opened it basically, Bigfoot is all in your minds. And I'm sitting there from Rhode Island, right? I have no stake in this game, right? No skin in the game, none. I just looked at the whole room. And I was like, oh, he's pissing off his whole room right now. He's going against every room, every table theory. That guy was the balls. He was hated by everybody else but me because I was like, this guy just got up and told all these people, right? All their research, all their books, table by table, reasons of why Bigfoot exists. All you guys, that it's all in your minds. And he's like, happy about himself, and he went and sat back at his table. Dude, I don't know who that was, but you know who I know I'm talking about because apparently he had like tapes of him talking to somebody on the phone. You know what I'm trying to say? Without saying it. Like really, Gilligan's Island. For real. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about? You don't know or remember. I'm talking about.
I'm trying to remember who that might have been. I was all over the place at my own event.
Yeah, you were.
I didn't get to listen to all the speakers. Yeah.
All right. So guys, this is what I can say without saying who it is, right? But what happened was he ended up dating Marianne from the Brady from Gilligan's Island. And he I guess had allegedly, but it's not alleged because they're on YouTube, posted a bunch of videos of like her drunk calling him like 3 or 4 in the morning when she was like 70 or 80. It's like the saddest tapes I've ever heard in my life. The thing about this guy was he didn't care. He was like, I'm gonna be me no matter what. And it was like, I appreciate that in a really awful sort of side of me, I guess, because he didn't care that he was pissing off the whole room. He was going to say what he had to say and go back to his table. And all the other tables were like, look, Dan, the whole room lit up. Like, people were like, what is he saying? Like, what is he saying? Like, the balls I think you had to book that room where each table literally thought something. My mind was blown because I didn't think that many people thought that many different things about Bigfoot. Let's be honest. Like, that it could be this many different options. So as the room went around, I'm like, what do we talk? Wow. And then this guy came along and made Cyn. You know when a curmudgeon, like a grouchy person, just gets in there and they just kind of muck it up, and it makes it like just more fun because you want to see how people react to like.
Well, Cyn, do we know what that's like when a curmudgeon mucks everything up? I don't know. I gotta think. Cyn, do we know what that's like?
Yeah.
Do we like? It sounds familiar.
It's what?
Yeah, but
What? Yeah.
Anyways, he was great. He really was, Dan. No, seriously, he was. But like, so here's what happened. So I get down to Fort Defiance, right? And we have to go pick something up at Dan's house. I don't know what it was. I don't know how. And Zach gets in the car with us. Now, if you've never met Zach Starrick, you have no idea who he is until you meet him. That's like, and I love that kid, but you don't know him till you meet him. And he's got a cowboy hat on. I think he had at least one gun on him. At least.
Nah, he didn't have no guns.
Yeah, at least one. He got in the back.
Allegedly.
And
He's a young country boy from Southern Illinois. So,
yeah. Oh, boy, he gets in the car and he's sitting behind me, and he starts talking about like grandfather or something. They caught somebody in the yard, gun to the head, allegedly all this stuff, and I'm going, should he be sitting behind us? Like I actually said it out loud. I said it to Kev, and like Zach was like laughing, like because like it was like the Italian mob side took over and was like, should that guy be behind me right now? Because I'm gonna have like a Joe Pesci, oh no moment where I get shot in the back of the head. Ain't happening. So, but like he was just so like, I never. And then, dude, seriously, I'm sorry about this, but I had. Do you remember that there was one guy that was there that his arms had to be about? He was. His arms had to be this big. I mean, dude, this was a guy that like. He walked through the room, and his arms were so big. They were so big that I had to say to Kev, "Oh my God, that guy's arms are so big." Like, I was like how, dude? His arms had to be the size of my back. You know what I'm talking about, Dan? Like, I mean, you if you don't know, then you maybe see this unicorn. But he was like one of the biggest guys I've ever seen in my life.
Was he somebody that was there attending, or?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm not
guy,
sure.
Guy, big, tall, black guy, big, strong guy, big arms, massive arms. I mean, gigantic arms. Scary big. Scary big. Scary. He's the kind of guy that makes you go, oh, shit, what do I do to stop him?
Maybe he could have taken on Bigfoot.
Yeah, the only black guy I knew that was there, he attends a lot of my wife and their little kids, but they come to my lot, but I don't know if it was him.
By the way, just so you know, let's rewind this because you broke up right there, and what came through was the only black guy I know there. Blank, 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 blank. Went Scrabble with kids.
Oh, okay.
I was
saying the only
address the table on that. Yeah.
Yeah, the only black guy I know that comes that was there, and he comes to my events. It's usually him and his wife and their kids. So. But I don't know. I mean, he's kind of a big guy, but I don't know if it was him that you might be talking about. It could be. I mean,
dude, he cornered me in an elevator. I was in the elevator. So here's the thing that I didn't realize, right? That just by being there, being part of that everybody was going to come up to me to tell me their Bigfoot story. I had no idea that that's what I kind of signed on for because they all one by one would come up. I heard so many Bigfoot stories, but this guy. We get on the elevator, and here's the funny story. Like, we're at the point where me and Kev are drinking, like, just straight vodka. It's like, we're at the back of the hotel room. We're like, we're done for the day. And Kev makes a comment of, like, I don't want to hear another Bigfoot story. I swear to God, dude, we're done for the day because we were there all day. And if you remember, we get in the elevator, and this guy's in there, and he's half the elevator. Like, he's just, and he just turns, and he goes, hey, and he starts talking about his Bigfoot story. And what are we gonna say? We're like, yeah. And he had it like hit his camper, and then it knocked and this stuff. And I'm going. And then I said to him something like, seriously though, how big are your arms? And he told me, and he's a competitor. No, he was competing. He competed, dude.
But Cyn, do you think that this guy was this big, or that this is a case of like that scene in Dumbo where like the vodka just has Mike seeing like big guys with giant arms? Like
maybe.
No, I wish Kev was here for that.
I don't know.
I would never give a guy props if he didn't deserve it. This guy, I mean, they weren't like the most defined arms, but geez, Louise, they were just huge. And he was with his wife and their kids. But so one guy even told me like a story about like how he was like, yeah, but I'm living in the woods right now, and I literally was like, well, what's the address? He's like, no, I'm literally living in the woods, and he was living in the woods, and I'm like, I'm so naive from the Northeast. I didn't even think that was possible. But apparently he was. Like, that was the like what you organized that day, the most eclectic group of the Bigfoot world. Like, I finally got to see what made you how did you, like, in other words, you knew it was gonna be a little bit combustible to bring every single theory. Like, you brought all those different theories to one room. You had to know.
Oh,
you had to know it's combustible.
oh, I continue to do so. My last event this past June, I had several different people there, which we're going to be actually in 2024. The lineup that we have, we're throwing more paranormal in the mix. So we don't only have just Bigfoot either. We have a few Bigfoot people, but we got people. One of my speakers is coming down from Maine. She's going to be talking about Lake Champlain, their version of Loch Ness. We got, what's the other one? Oh man, I can't think. Can't think of the other one right off the top of my head right now.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. New Hampshire, from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Maybe Bigfoot up there. Cyn, what's a question you'd want to ask somebody that studies Bigfoot?
So you talk a lot about the structures that you find in the woods that are out of the ordinary, something that a normal forest dweller animal would not make. What do you think those are for?
Well, as I mentioned in a lot of my videos and whatnot, we have to entertain the thought, first of all, that Bigfoot is making some of these. Then again, I'm very objective on a lot of them, but I do consider that Bigfoot's making some of these. So, but I was just actually in a conversation the other day with somebody about these that asked me a question on this. I believe they could be a variety of things. To a lot of Bigfoot researchers, believe that a lot of them are some type of marker. To be more specific, some of them could be territorial markers. Depending on the style of the structure, it could be a directional as well. Then again, if it's something entirely, I don't know. There's very limited information we could really go by. So yeah, I think it could vary. And on a side note, and not to really get into this too much, but there's people who believe that Bigfoot could be autistic. I don't know if they all could be, but autism could be a key role in a lot of these odd things that we find. And again, entertaining the thought that Bigfoot is creating these. But we have to be careful because weather, believe it or not, weather creates a lot of what we find too that look fascinating. Unless you could rule out weather, most of these, I shouldn't say most of these, but a lot of these do appear to where something constructed these, something with opposable thumbs. And there's only two species in the world. Well, I shouldn't say only two large species in the world that have opposable thumbs.
Yeah, not made by chemicals from a company.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, me and you, and then primates. And that's if you want to believe that Bigfoot is some type of unknown primate. But of course, there's a lot of smaller mammals that have opposable thumbs, raccoons, possums. But we're talking about large species, large primates. So according to science, me and you, we're human primates. So yeah, I think it just varies. I think. What's that?
Dan, here's the thing. 3 years ago, the idea that Bigfoot was part of everything else was unheard of, and I got yelled at for that. Like, I was like, so hear me out. What if Bigfoot has something to do with aliens, has something to do with ghosts, has something to do with this? And I just went through it and said, well, all right, let's just do an energy connection. What if Bigfoot is its own species, its own race visiting, its own? Because I'll tell you what, from what I hear everybody say, it's always good in the woods. It's good at getting away. The biggest knock I have on Bigfoot in general is that no new information comes out. People seem like they find it and run away from it. That was the one thing that I took away that was driving me nuts. Like people be like, yeah, so I spent like 3 days in the woods and then I saw Bigfoot and I ran home. And I compare always that to if I look for my keys because I lost them and then I find them and then I throw them away. Like, why was I looking for them in the first place? Like, if you're gonna get killed by Bigfoot, that's one of the best ways I can think of to die. So allegedly, so just go out that way. Like, don't run away when you hear Bigfoot. Go get a photo or something. Get me something. Like, even if I sacrifice myself, like I always say, and I give myself up to Bigfoot, Dan, at least you'd be running home going, well, Mike's gone, so Social Security's gonna come looking for him. You know what I mean? The government's gonna look for him. FBI, someone's gonna look for Mike. He's gone, so maybe that's more of our proof. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, why is everybody run away? That's my knock. That's my knock on Bigfoot. People run away. I don't get it.
Yeah, I've heard that myself. That where a lot of people go look for them, see them, have a close encounter, and then it just puts you in an overwhelming sense of fear. I mean, being by yourself is completely different versus if you're with a group of people that do see them together. I know that firsthand. Being alone and experiencing something out of the ordinary when you're by yourself. I've had situations or encounters where even though I didn't see nothing, I knew it was there because you could hear it walk and you could hear the weight and the size of it step away from you. Again, that's the overwhelming sense of fear. It's like,
Dan, you're an intelligent hunter. I'm an Italian guy in the woods. We're two different people when we hear that knocking and hooting, and we're gonna go out different ways. Like, in other words, if I spent that much time in the woods, man, sleeping on the grass, all that crap, you spend that much time hearing me complain, Dan, you'd be like, go ahead, Mike, go try your luck at Bigfoot. Like, what I'm saying is, we would have to go forward. I don't like. That's the part I don't get, I guess. Maybe it's because, like, you know what you're talking about and you don't want to get smashed to death by a Bigfoot. So you don't talk about it that way. But I don't, that's the part, that's, to me, always, that's been the hardest part. On top of that, it's the addition of all the other cryptids now, where they just take an animal and then put man at the end, or an insect, or a lizard, reptile, It's just all these different, It's like, you can't believe in all of them, can you?
No, right? Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, that gets me too. It's like where all these cryptids and legends are coming from. I mean, yeah, some of them got to start from somewhere. However, yeah, you got lizard man, they got frog man. I mean, there's ones I've recently learned, but like these ones, I said, where did these come from? I never heard of such a thing, But yeah, you're right. They create an animal, or they take an animal and put man again. So. Yeah, shoot, there was even dog man, but I try not to get into that.
So Sarah, see, that's a guy that's into Bigfoot. When it comes to the other cryptids, like some people like they're more just cryptids, like they're just universal. They'll talk about all the different ones. Some people that are zoned in on Bigfoot, when you start to mention these other ones, it's almost like, I'm not saying the government would ever do this allegedly, but like, you send out like when something real comes out, kind of like the UFO thing lately, you do a bunch of like 100 garbage things to take the attention away from the one that was real. Did you ever get that feeling though with all the different this man, that man, Sarah, that like that's intentional to get people's attention off? Like,
I mean, from my own research, just with doing the parapsychology and learning how people work and how interviews work and eyewitness testimony, I mean, I think it's also likely to consider that eyewitness testimony can be unreliable, especially over time. And so maybe perhaps a lot of these things are the same thing. And it's just that, people's perceptions at the time or encounters make it seem different, like a totally different thing altogether.
So what do you think? Because like when they do like a skunk ape man, like I've heard skunk ape man, it's like, that's Bigfoot.
Isn't that Florida?
That's just
all of Florida man, yeah.
Called Bigfoot. Like
skunk ape is a type of Bigfoot. They refer to skunk ape. Bigfoot has many different names, but the skunk ape, and is more of the Florida and the southern species of Bigfoot. Some describe it as possibly more longer hair, shaggy, orangutan type, this and that. But then again, you got Ohio. They got the Grassman. The Ohio Grassman is Bigfoot's nickname up there. But yeah, not everybody, but a lot of us believe that, like, for example, the Dogman. A lot of people think that people are misidentifying and seeing some type of Bigfoot, but yet they're calling it a Dogman. I mean, misidentification could be a big key role in a lot of this. The reason why I stick more towards Bigfoot, based off his description and everything, we have something that is known to exist that we could actually compare and relate him to, even though a lot of people dismiss that. My view is I consider it more of a logical, critical view. Again, if you compare Bigfoot to non-human primates, gorillas, chimpanzees, so forth, and with that being said, I have to say this every time. I'm not making Bigfoot equal to them. However, I'm considering the anatomy. Even though, if you're familiar with the ancients, I don't know why I call it ancient, but the old species that was known to exist, we have drawn fossil records of Gigantopithecus. Again, that is a species that is easily dismissed by many people. Some scientists acknowledge Gigantopithecus as a living relic hominid, or living species that may be what Bigfoot is.
Say it again,
but there's so many different theories. While people, I'm sorry.
Cyn, you want to hear it again?
Yeah, because I can't even pronounce that. Say that again.
Oh, it's called Gigantopithecus, which is the scientific term meaning giant ape. So,
okay.
And Gigantopithecus was believed to be within the orangutan family, a very large species ranging from 9 to 10, possibly up to 12 feet tall, weighing anywhere from 400 up to 1,400 pounds. So,
weren't there Bobo apes, Dan? And am I using the right word? They're like non-tree dwellers, where they would kill not tigers, but like jaguars. They were called the Bobo apes.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the Billy ape.
Yeah, that's to me.
The Billy ape is the Billy ape is a large species of part of the chimpanzee family, and they are a larger species of orangutan. Of chimpanzee. They're much heavier, much larger, and their nickname was the lion killer or cat killer. Yep. So, they were discovered, found deep down in the Congo back in 2017. No, 2000. Oh my goodness. It was in the early to mid 2000s, but
isn't it a blur? 2000 to 2020. Anybody else? It's a freaking blur. I can't.
Yeah, big time.
What if something happened in that 20-year span? I'm just like, I don't really remember. It
just came back to me. Yeah, 2006 it was. Yeah, but there was a newer species of primate that was discovered in 2017, which was only 6 years ago. It was a type of orangutan. And here's the thing. This is where I compare our known species of primates to Bigfoot. Because Bigfoot, people go look for them, can't find them, and why can't we find them? This and that. Well, according to science, we've only had 2 species of orangutan that's ever existed. They were both originated out of different parts of Indonesia. But as of recent as 2017, a new species of orangutan was discovered. And when that came about, scientists were scratching their heads. Whoa, wait a minute. Where's this guy been all these years? So primates are being discovered all the time. So they've been among us, and just they're still being discovered. Why haven't we known about them any sooner all these years?
That's why I hate scientists. The whole idea of them scratching their heads. It's like no, because science. The whole idea of science is that it should change constantly, and that you're constantly wrong. You got to reprove yourself. And to think that there's not other species even on the planet that we haven't discovered. I mean, we haven't even gone. Look, there's 2 places. The Amazon, for some reason, we don't go all the way in, which makes no sense for the United States. I figure like we would just go, whatever. No. And then what is it? The Antarctica? What part of it? Which pole am I talking about? Where there's like a blackout zone? You just really can't go there. Allegedly, you just can't go there and film or.
Uh,
Antarctica.
Alaska. I know different parts of Alaska and stuff gets dark
no,
early.
it's at one of the poles. I think it might be Antarctica where they don't allow documentaries and stuff like that. There's just certain areas where are blackout zones to me. Now, Sarah, my favorite version of Bigfoot is the Yeti. Do you have a favorite version of Bigfoot? Because I really do. I like the the whole.
It's a bumble. Is it a bumble? Like a bumble?
No, that's Rudolph, which is keeping within the spirit. But they bounce and
bumbles bounce. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Dan would never go hunting for a bumble unless.
No, I like the Harry and the Hendersons Bigfoot. So I would think that would be like the long-haired one from down south that he was talking about. Like, remember Harry and the Hendersons?
Of course I do. That's a good call. I like.
We just watched him about a week or so ago, and then it's funny, we were talking about him yesterday because the guy I interviewed brought up a good point. And when I edited the video, I added a certain scene from Harry and the Hendersons in there. A lot of people talk about how Bigfoot could blend in and look like a tree when you're looking into the forest. But, we can walk in the forest and not know we're being watched sometimes, And the very last scene at the end, if you watch where Harry is going back into the woods, and when he walks into the woods, all of a sudden you see the other ones come out. They were standing there, but we never see them until they walk out and follow him, And that scene alone, we were talking about how, hey, that might have some truth to it, I mean, even though it's a movie, somebody did some homework, somebody knew something or had that thought or theory, like that's what they look like when they're in the woods. I mean,
is that your Goodfellas? Like, is that your Goodfellas? To me, like, is Goodfellas one of my favorite movies? Is that your Goodfellas? Like Harry and the Hendersons? Like, they slipped out information. Movie. They slipped out information that's actually real, but they pretended like that it's not real. Because Goodfellas, there's so much truth to that. It's stupid, but everyone's like, yeah, it's fun. No, a lot of that was real. So,
it's not funny. It's not a comedy.
Goodfellas?
Yes.
He kind of is. Yeah, I laughed the whole time. It's hilarious.
Nope,
it is. Mom, I need the knife for the, what is it called? The foot, the paw, the hoof. Oh, the hoof. Every part of that movie is funny if you watch it. But, all right, let's get back off that. Cyn, what's another question you'd ask somebody involved?
Wait. You guys got to tell what your favorite Sasquatch was.
All right, what's your favorite? What is your favorite?
Sax Squatch. SAX. Squatch.
He is a heck of a saxophone. Yeah.
Great. Yes.
He does
tours. He does tours.
Yeah. So have you got to meet him before?
No, I want to so much.
I met him about a few years ago in South Carolina. He was he was performing on the street at the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. But but he's based out of North Carolina. The guy's name, who's in the suit, his name's Dean, and I mean, you could book him for any event as long as you pay his prices. So.
You had a guest last year that I wanted to go so bad that caused a fight at the house because the Turtle Man is oh my God, dude! If there's one guy that I could ever meet in my life, like I have such a weird obsession with the way he used to handle stuff. So, and I try to explain, people don't really remember him. Some do and some don't. It's weird. Like you either knew who he was, or you didn't. But anyways, he basically would go to a situation, any situation, right? Where there's like a raccoon or a turtle or something's getting pulled out. And the best part about that guy was he would yell live action and then jump into shit. And I started doing that in my life. Like, like I had a snake that got loose. I had to go get it in the ceiling. Or there was something there. I would yell live action and just dive it. It was like a war cry for like, I don't want to say stupidity because I'm not calling him stupid, but it was like a war cry for like, fuck it, I'm going to go see if I get bit. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Like that show itself. Like I would have geeked out so bad with that guy. Like as opposed to like, I met Run DMC, stuff like that. Bigger names, but it's like, hey, that's cool. The Turtle Man, I wouldn't know what to say because literally, you never seen that show, huh?
No, I've never seen it. No, I actually thought you were talking about like Teenage Mutant Ninja. Like I was like, is there a big rat? Do they eat pizza? What is he talking about?
Think a little bit more.
Yeah, Turtle Man. Yeah, the show. Yeah, he used to have a show on Animal Planet. It was called Call of the Wild Man, and yeah, but yeah, he hasn't had the show in a while. So he started his own show on YouTube, and now he goes out looking for Bigfoot. So, but yeah, he was a lot of fun having him there. Yeah, he drew in a crowd. He definitely did. There was people steadily lined up to see him and to get pictures with him.
It's what a waste of talent. I mean, because he should be out just catching shit nonstop. That guy was. We did. Me and my friend Dave wrote the Italian version of it. We called it the Guido Hunter. Like you go to like a rock club. I'm sorry, a dance club. Like boom, 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 and then we sprayed Dracar Noir. You know what I mean? See if we get the Guido to come out. And Dave was saying we'd have like a red felt like a bag that we tagged the Guido with. And then we would take the Guido someplace else and let the Guido off into his natural environment. But like, you know what I mean? Like the Diamond Girl would be playing. We do all kinds of Guido stuff, like make calls. Like, hey, oh, guy.
You thought way too much about this, Mike.
No, we did. We actually wrote a whole skit based on the Turtle
like
Man called the Guido Man.
Like way too much.
No, we really wrote a full skit called the Guido Man based on the Turtle Man.
I really believe you.
It's really funny, actually, too. I would love to film it. But it would be great to get the Turtle Man to be in the goddamn video. Holy Christ. If I get him with like fake gel up here, like, you know what I mean? Like doing any kind of stuff. That's gold, baby. Gold. Sarah, another question for Dan.
What did you say? I couldn't hear you.
Do you have another question for Dan?
Yeah. So in the paranormal, when we say, you know, we're doing this because we're looking for answers, and typically if you ask one of us, it would be like proof of life after death. So I read your bio on your website, and you know, you said you're doing the research to look for answers. So what are the questions? Like, what are you trying to answer when it comes to Bigfoot?
Well, one of the things, although I have my own conclusion and belief, is to continue researching for answers that will confirm more of what I believe he or she is. It just, with all these other theories, one of these people. I'm not a follower. I'm somebody that's when it comes to research and knowledge on the subject itself, I'm very independent on this. Although I will listen to others, I'll listen to what they have to share or what they believe. Some claim to have experienced very bizarre or out of the norm kind of things. Some things that might, what we would consider that fall under the paranormal realm of things. In some aspects, some people call it the woo. Me, with some of the things that are put out there that sound too I don't know, just things that don't sound normal. I want to be, if these things are like what people experience and what they talk about in their belief, if what they say is true and real, I need to experience it for myself. But the more I get into this, the more I dig down and to do research on this, for me personally, everything's building up stronger and stronger, little by little, on my conclusions. Now, I'm not always the best at explaining myself on certain things. Yeah, when I go to events where I do a lot of presentations myself, I mean, I'll try my best to have a proper presentation put together to help explain what I'm putting out there and what I'm trying and to share my views. So yeah, the answers that I want are basically what I already feel like I know. But at the same time, my knowledge or my beliefs behind my conclusion does not make anything factual. So that's one thing I want people to understand. I'm not coming across as a know-it-all, but I need something. And I think this goes for everybody that's involved in this. You have your average Bigfoot or your average Joe researcher that a lot of them will claim things that, well, Bigfoot's this, Bigfoot's that, Bigfoot does this, Bigfoot does that, you know. And the thing is, well, how do you know? We believe or think Bigfoot does this, so we got to continue down that, you know, and consider all that Bigfoot is making these particular sounds or banging on trees, knocking. You know, with a lot of these, I look at primates because a lot of my answers that I'm finding are relating to the similarities behind our non-species of primates. what they do, their behaviors, their diets, et cetera, et cetera. I'm constantly doing a cross comparison and seeing if anything's changing, you know?
Well, all right, wait a minute. First off, a Bigfoot expert. Anybody calls himself a Bigfoot expert is kind of it gets weird at that point because it's like being the expertise of something that's you really can't 100% prove. So don't go all expert on me. But what I do agree is that there is a missing link somewhere there along the lines with just human species. So is there other species? Yeah, it has to be, right? Because we didn't. There is a step that we missed that we can't explain in the whole evolution theory. So if that is true, Cyn, what do you think? See, I'm more inclined to believe that Bigfoot is a species that's just always been, and I think people have a hard time with that. Whereas they want it to be interdimensional, all this other stuff, and I'm thinking like, what do you think?
Yeah, see, I'm right there with you, Mike.
Shrader Hill Author.
Yes, Mike.
What do you think?
I think that I'm kind of having to go with the interdimensional thing still.
Okay, why?
Because there is no skeleton, no bones have been found, no excrement, nothing.
So check me on this though. When you go outside during the day, do you see birds?
Oh no.
Here we go.
Do you see birds? Cyn, do you see birds?
God.
Cyn, do you? You do. How many birds do you see? A lot.
I
right?
don't know. I don't know.
In a year, how many birds do you think you see in the sky? A lot.
Quite a bit.
How many dead birds do you find? Not many. Maybe one a year if you're lucky, if you're looking. Other than that, you don't
Atkins
find dead
Tumblr agrees with me. Just thank you. See?
First off, you know what's great about an Atkins Tumblr? It keeps the hot stuff hot.
And
I can't
and
do it.
cold stuff cold.
What more could you want in a tumbler?
Look, I have a special one.
Yeah, you have mine.
I'm
I
jealous.
No, but I'm being serious. I don't know. You know what?
I have a question for Daniel. Can I ask him?
Yes.
Okay. So before we got on here, I told you a little bit about where I'm from and what happened. So back in the 1970s, there were multiple sightings of a Bigfoot-like creature about 5 miles from where I live in Lincoln County, Tennessee. It was called the Flintville Monster. And Bob Dahl of the Caffeinated Cryptid actually sent me a message about it the other day. And I reached out to a friend of mine that does a lot of video. He had done a story on another thing that happens around here called the Flintville Light. So he had done a video of that, and I put him in touch with that guy. That guy in turn gave Bob an email of the person that had been one of the ones that had seen this Flintville monster. The thing is that what they were saying is that it was white. And what you brought up before the show was interesting to me of what you thought about that.
Oh, yeah, as far as possible old age.
Yeah, instead of just being like a Yeti.
Right. The other thing is, apart from possible old age with the gray or whiteness, could it be a genetic thing? Could it be their genes that some of them just come out white? Like, well, I think you even mentioned possible albino, We got albino deer, we got albino rabbits, we got albino squirrels, and so many other species that are albino, but they're rare, So I think any of those are good, strong possibilities, but it's just something that we don't know,
I feel like you guys are on the defensive a lot, though. Like, I feel like you have to be like, yeah, it could be, X, Y, Z, because I guess you're trying to get people to believe in something that's a little bit of a stretch. So you can't dismiss anybody else's opinion, which is where I think it gets a little weird, because I don't
think he's no, he's not.
No, I think in general, but not all right.
Maybe what I'm saying is he's trying to find out for himself.
I didn't really just mean just Dan. I meant in general. The whole thing of it is when you have a theory on something and it's in this area, for you to just dismiss everybody else's theory is not going to win you any favors. So you have to at least hear them out, which is like you could have a lot of patience because Dan, you must hear some really far out versions of it.
Ooh, let's hear
all the time.
one. Let's hear one of the farthest out.
Yeah, what's the weirdest?
Hmm.
The weirdest Bigfoot theory. Like Bigfoot in a shower scene, Bigfoot like what?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, being involved with all this, regardless of what idea or theory or claim I've heard, even though I may not believe in it per se, at the same time, it doesn't sound very crazy. But I don't know if that makes any sense. You just get so used to hearing things all the time, regardless if you believe in that theory or not, it becomes part of, it gets thrown in the mix, Well,
then, was there a strange story that was told that maybe someone saw a Bigfoot skiing, drinking coffee or something?
Oh.
What's something
no,
stupid?
nothing like that. No. No, I never heard anything silly like that. Just as far as strangeness, we've hear, people believe the portal thing. That's what I'm thinking. But, as far as like you mentioned, something you brought up, you guys were starting to talk about is, why haven't we found any bones or remains? And then Mike was going on about the birds, which I knew exactly where he was going at with that.
Go on.
I like to go on. I like to bring up a bear. We know bears exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how many dead bears have we found that have died of natural causes? What about mountain lions? We know they exist, but where are their remains? You never hear about, we found a dead bear. We found the remains of this. You never hear about that.
Yeah, but if there's as many bears or mountain lions as there is birds, we're dead. Like
right.
This is Planet of the Apes, but with bears. We're in big trouble, dude, if there's that many bears. Because I see birds by flocks.
Oh, yeah. But, birds, I would consider that a different thing because there's so many of them. But, yeah, you're right. There's so many of them that I guess I see why you're bringing that up. Because there's so many of them, yeah, we should be able to find one of the remains, right? So, yeah, I see that would make more. Yeah.
Where I live, I should see dead birds everywhere I go. But I don't. And you know what people say? Well, the cats get them. Bullshit. They don't get that many birds. There's not that many cats out there prowling the neighborhood, like looking for dead birds and scooping them up in the morning, before we get sunlight. It's bull. Like, it's just like, and then I hear, well, maybe they all go to one place. And I'm like, that's even worse. Like, that's even scarier. Like, there's a pile of dead birds someplace. Like, I don't want to know that. So it's like, I just don't want to find dead birds. So it's like, I don't know. I think Bigfoot must be smarter than a bird. You know what I mean?
I think we've got a lot of fat buzzards and vultures.
You think?
Yep.
Well, a species like an animal like a bird. I mean, and this could go for any other species. We could talk about deer, and again, back to the bear and mountain lion. Think about when these animals do die. For example, bears and cats are kind of similar. Because when they become ill, they know their time of death is approaching. They go off into hiding. They go into deep crevices or caves or dens. But if other species find their remains, they're being scattered. The bones are getting eaten up by various species. But when the remains get dispersed and spread out, nature takes over. You got the seasons come in, and you got leaf litter, pine litter. A lot of this will cover and hide what's underneath. There was one time I can recall I accidentally came across deer bones in the woods. Something killed it. So, but I kicked it up and I was like, what the heck is that? And I noticed it was a weird looking stick. It had green moss coated all over it. It was a bone. Over a period of time, a lot of nature takes over a lot of things, hides a lot from us. These are things that people should at least consider or take in consideration. Bigfoot. There's a theory that Bigfoot bears are dead. There's another theory Bigfoot might be cannibalistic.
Oh.
And entertaining the fact, if we compare Bigfoot as a primate to our known species of primates, these are observed behaviors, and that non-human primates practice. It has been observed that primates, non-human species of primates, have been observed burying their dead. But entertaining the thought where some people believe Bigfoot is an intelligent species, that some people believe that they are a type of people or human. Well, they have that intelligence. Then, if they're a type of people, if they have enough intelligence as we practice burying our dead, why can't they have that practice too?
That's the thing. We immediately think that they're dumber than us because we compare them to a primate. That's where the gap lies. Like, what if what if they're smarter than us?
I think they are.
Then, if that's the case, the fact that we can't prove they exist or all this other stuff doesn't even matter. If Bigfoot's beyond us and can manipulate stuff beyond us, what do we know? Like, we're really a dumb species. Like, that doesn't. We really are. People, come on. We're dumb. We're dumb species, and we're easily swayed. So the idea that like a Bigfoot could be farther advanced than us, even in the ways of like hunting or knowing when to get out, when to dip out, when something's around them. Because there was a group, Dan, that wanted to use like infrared, like drones that scanned infrared. I'm thinking, but I would think that if a Bigfoot can block all this other stuff and he's ahead of all this other technology, like, what do you think you're accomplishing with that infrared drone? Because they could just throw that off. Why wouldn't they throw that off too? Like, that was my argument. They were like, no, this will catch the heat seeking. I'm like, okay then, because it's like he seems to like be able to break all the codes, like pass all the technology, if that makes sense. Yes.
Well, yes and no, but look at the show. I don't know if you had the chance to view it. Expedition Bigfoot. Now, I compare it to Finding Bigfoot, but kind of an upgrade. Yes, they use less people out in the woods because Finding Bigfoot, when those guys go out in the woods, what you don't see on film is the whole production crew out there with them. They have a large group of people out there trampling through the woods. Finding Expedition Bigfoot is just 1 to 2 people with it, and each group. There's 3 of them out there. Most of the time, yeah, there's 4, but there's 3 of them out there most of the time. 2 will split up, go this way. They got 1 camera guy. Russell Cord, majority of the time, he's by himself, wandering around, and he's got 1 camera guy. So there's less people. But that show there, they use a lot more high-tech technology. The network that's behind them, is funding them, and they have the means to use some awesome technology. And they actually have produced thermal imagers. They've actually shown it on the show. But believing that it is real, at the same time, while keeping in thought that this is a show, it's also entertainment. But so that leaves that question: are they showing real stuff or are they faking stuff? Because they have been capturing stuff and showing it to the public. But so I've often think about those kind of things too.
There's just so many ways, right? Like there's literally so many different ways that, like, dude, once you get a hunter's mind on something, you're gonna get a million different ways. Like, so Bigfoot's one of those things where he's not hunted in the sense of like people want to like again hold him up like Jaws. They just want to track him, and Bigfoot itself has attracted people that have hunted before, like very serious hunters. That's why I'm always weirded out that they haven't found anything. See, there's 2 parts of me. One says all these great people haven't found anything, so what is out there? And then all these great people have tried but not been able to find anything. So does that mean that we're just not good enough to be ahead of the curve and find anything? You know what I mean? In other words, it's like it's either not real or we're just as dumb as I think we are. We can't keep up with seriously, we can't keep up with Bigfoot.
One of the biggest things behind this whole thing for me, and I think, I don't know if I speak for others, but there is a thrill behind this. It's fun too. There's one thing I tell people, because I get asked a lot. Hey, I want to start looking for Bigfoot. What should I do? I can tell them a lot of basics, which I have. But the thing is, if you don't appreciate nature, if you don't, if you don't appreciate and love the outdoors, it's not going to be any fun to you. And you're not going to pick up and learn from it. unless that's your passion, you know. Because I love being in the woods. You know, I've been in the woods. You know, even a young kid hunting with dad or playing in the woods. I've always wanted to be in the woods. I was always drawn to the woods. But even as an adult, right now, I mean, I can't get enough of it. I mean, but you know, again, you got to have fun with it, and that's a big thing for me. Is I enjoy doing this. Um, is it disappointing if I don't get some kind of activity out there? Yeah, it can be. You know, so I guess there's a thrill behind in hopes of having that activity or another encounter or seeing something that you could document or make note of, regardless if you catch it on film versus your own visual eyes yourself. You know,
Right.
because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of things I've experienced where I only got to tell about it, not show about it. You know, I want to be able to show people what I experienced. You know, it's not always possible, but again, you know, it all boils down to having fun out there. You know, and that's the way I take it. So,
All right. So to wrap up, Cyn, what would you like to say to wrap up?
This has been so interesting. Thank you so much for coming on and answering my questions that were complete shots in the dark, because this is new to me. So thank you for allowing me to ask you questions.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. As far as my books, they are on Amazon. Please go check them out. Cyn Shrader Hill Author. I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc., etc. You can reach me, Cyn Shrader Hill Author at gmail.com.
Okay. Sarah?
I also want to thank you, Daniel. I want to apologize that my first question to you was about urine. So, but it was, you know, uphill after that. So I think we're good. If you have anything you want to promote, like your website, all that, send the information over to me. I'll pop it up on the partners page on legitpodcast.com so that people can find you that way as well. I want to remind people again to like and subscribe to @legitpodcast, DOTCOM. We appreciate all of our viewers. Thanks, Jenny and Mike.
Yeah, Dan, what happened was I got people that could actually do the stuff that's required, like that I can't do. Like I can't run this whole thing because I'm just not like what's called a people's person, you know? Like I apologize every show for everybody that I have not gotten back to or responded to. It has nothing to do with them. It has all to do with me and my problems. Like I'm overwhelmed when I see too many messages. That's the truth. It's been like that my whole life. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of messages. I'll just wait. But seriously, I've enjoyed your take on Bigfoot and that stuff more so than it's been like 3 years of doing these paranormal shows, right? And there's been a lot of cryptid people that have come through. Some people, they just know stuff that they read. Like they just read into me definitions that they read in the handbook of cryptids, as opposed to some people that are out there and they're trying to find it and trying to figure that stuff out. Like obviously, I'm the kind of person that goes with people that go out and look, as opposed to just they want to recite knowledge they read in a book before. So I think it's crazy to go looking for Bigfoot, quite honestly, because it doesn't seem like it pays off ever. It just seems like it's like. But then again, see, here's the thing: you enjoy being in the woods,
Right?
I
Exactly.
ignore that fact. I'm thinking the whole time it's just work, man, work, because I can't. I don't know. I never even wanted to camp in my yard.
Not outdoorsy.
No, I don't. But I'm not indoorsy. Like I'm not like I need like a fluffy bed and like all these petals. Like I'm more like that.
Petals? Who's getting petals?
I used to get that back in the day. Now knock it off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm more like a rock thing. Like give me a couch and I'm good. But I need a couch.
Petals.
I at least need a couch. Can't do the grass, but I can.
Cyn, did you get the rose bearers that Mike sent to your house? I didn't get any rose bearers.
I have been looking for them. I've not seen them.
To throw them at my feet as I walk through my house.
I knew
Scratch that. I gotta clean it up. What?
This is not coming to America. Secondly, Mike did never mention anybody else getting rose petals but himself. I wasn't talking about passing them out. Just telling you about past experiences. So Dan, what's the next upcoming events you got? Like what's on the docket? Like what should we know about?
Well, we have two upcoming events for the 2024. The first one is happening May 25th of 2024 right here in the state of Pennsylvania. All the information could be found on our Facebook event page. It's the Pennsylvania Myths and Legends Festival. Right now, we already have over 23 vendors. First of all, we just started planning this about a couple of weeks ago, and we already have 23 vendors, free food trucks. We got a beer truck there.
How far are you now? How far
Huh?
are you from Rhode Island? How far from Rhode Island are you now?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm in
Where
Somerset.
can you stay?
What
Right now, I'm in Somerset, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm in Somerset. I'm west of Philadelphia, way west of Philly, I think.
Okay.
What's the Philadelphia?
Yeah, I'm on the other side. I'm way west of. Yeah, I'm way west of Pittsburgh. So, but Somerset, Pennsylvania is where I'm at. And yeah, the Pennsylvania Myths and Legends Festival is going to be huge. We're excited about that. It's all outdoors. We already got guest speakers lined up, and yeah, I had some emails before I got on here for new vendors signing up because we were passing out flyers at another event yesterday, and I think we're starting to get some more attention on that. But that's before our Virginia event because I'm still hosting the annual Virginia event. We already have guest speakers lined up for that, and again, we're gonna have to throw some paranormal in the mix. We still have plenty of room for vendors on that. We have the Facebook event page set up for that, and the website, which is vabigfootcon.com.
The food was amazing. The food trucks were ridiculous. Oh my!
I'm just saying, Mike.
God.
Since we're doing events now.
Oh no, dude! I loved going to Virginia. Let me tell you something. When they were setting up like the PA type stuff, I just started telling jokes for the crowd, and I was trying to tell as long a joke as I could, and one was really stupid, and a woman in the front laughed and then told me that was stupid, and I felt so good about myself.
I believe
What I mean? Like, you don't even hit the mark. Like she went, ha, that's so stupid. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I know.
When's the event, Daniel, in Virginia?
What's that now?
She's gonna try
When's
to
the
book
event?
us. There we go.
I'm gonna try and book us.
Yeah, it's the ECBRO Annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference. Yeah, I have updated information on the event website. Again, that's vabigfootcon.com.
I'd love to go back for a second one. That'd be
absolutely.
We're going to be making appearances at different Paracons, and that was my technically that was my first. That was my second annual of Paracons. I was literally like,
I'll email you, Dan.
I actually went out of the state to go to my first
Paracon. Dude, you know it'd be awesome if you guys. I don't know how the signal will be out there, but the one in Pennsylvania, that would be awesome to have you guys there too. I mean, we got electricity there, but so
yeah, we're going to be podcasting from a few Paracons this year already. So we'll definitely we'll get together and discuss if we can make something happen for sure.
Oh, absolutely, that'd be awesome. Most definitely.
I like the Bigfoot ones. I do.
You won't find Mike at your if you guys come to my event, my Pennsylvania event, you won't find Mike. He'll be hanging out at the beer truck.
No, this is a new era in which Sarah makes Mike do things.
Oh, I had a great time that weekend. Like, so the thing was, I met Dan's dad, and it was like, from that point on, I was good. Like, it's weird when you meet someone's dad and they're telling you about Rhode Island, you feel that. Because at first, I'll be honest, everybody having a gun on them was just weird. It was just it's different for me.
With guns.
No, dude, I'm Italian.
Have you been to Florida?
You've
been to Florida yet?
No. We check rooms. We're room checkers. Like, I sit in the corner when I sit at a restaurant. I'm always worried about my surroundings. In Virginia, it was like, oh no. I was like, everybody. But then it was like,
oh no.
They're nicer to us than we are to them in the whole North-South thing. And you don't believe that, but it's true. And Cyn, you'll back this up. You guys say insults with polite words, and we're more abrasive. That's up now. What?
But down here, we don't all have guns down here, Mike. I mean, we're not all gun carriers.
That was a good one.
Not shocked at all. Am I shocked?
Good setup. No. Good setup.
All I got is two
This
dogs.
is my baby. This is my 44 Magnum right here. My 9mm are over there.
See, I was
Listen, if you're in the woods hunting a giant Bigfoot and there's you need a gun. You need a gun with you.
you don't need a Magnum. You don't need a Magnum, no.
I don't know. I'm
No,
good.
no,
Give me
bullshit.
the biggest gun you
No,
got.
no.
Mhm.
That thing goes off. The sound, if he doesn't have earplugs in, I'm thinking the
Mhm.
kickback on a Magnum, just to shoot
Mhm.
Bigfoot, it'd be like, boom. I can't see anything. I hear boo. I don't know where
Yeah.
Bigfoot is. Next thing I know, he's killing me. I want a 22, dude. I want a BB gun. I want to know where Bigfoot is at all times. I shoot that
BB
Magnum.
gun.
I miss on the first shot. Dan knows this. I miss on the first shot of a Magnum. Me, I'm like, ooh, dead. Right, Dan?
That's right. That thing's a cannon. That will make you go deaf. Yeah.
It's like, I'm only imagining shooting a Magnum, like really shooting a Magnum. The boom, the kickback, and the sound would be. And I'm already dealing with Bigfoot. I don't need that issue. Like I'd rather throw like a ninja star. I'll take my chances. As many as I can. Anybody got anything else they would like to say to wrap up? You're holding your hand in your face, do nothing. All right, let me
You
do
make
it
my
this
face
way.
palm.
For Daniel Benoit, for Cyn Shrader Hill Author, for Sarah Paranormal, it is me, Michael King, Mike Elders was legit. Paranormal brought to you by legit podcast.com. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow night we have on at 8:05 Is It Legit, where we review different topics, equipment, locations, stories, and try to figure out what's legit and what is not